بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Today's grammar lesson we will be going over the tenses in the English language.
casharkeenu maanta waxa uu ku saabsan yahay tenseska grammarka.
So the English language has 12 main tenses.
Englishku waxa uu leeyahay 12 tenses oo asaasi ah.
Most of us are only familiar with 3. So we know if something happens in the past, so it happened before, it's going to be used in the past tense. Something's happening right now, we will be using the present tense, and if something's going to happen in the future, we will be using the future tense.
badanka xooga waxa aynu saarnaa 3 tenses wax dhacay oo aanu isticmaalno past tenseska wax iminka dhacaya oo aanu isticmaalno present tenseska iyo wax mustaqbalka dhici kara oo aanu isticmaalno future tenseska.
But most of us are not familiar with the other tenses that are existent. So today we will be going over the 12 tenses in the English language. Those 12 tenses, I will briefly name them now, and then we will be going over each one by one.
kuma koobna kaliyaata 3 tenses waxa aanay yihiin 12 tenses. xiisadana waxaynu ku qaadan doonaa inagoo mid kasta si faahfaahinayna kana sheekaynayna tenses kasta iyo xaaladda loo isticmaalo.
In the English language, the 12 tenses are as follows.
halkan waxaan idinku xusayaa 12 tenses iyo waxay u kala baxaan.
There's the present simple tense. There is the present continuous tense, and there is the present perfect tense. There is the past simple tense, the past continuous tense, and the past perfect tense. There is the future simple tense, the future continuous tense, and the future perfect tense. So we see amongst the past, present, and future, there are those 3 similarities: the simple, the continuous, and the perfect tenses. And then there are 3 more tenses: the present perfect continuous tense, the past perfect continuous tense, and the future perfect continuous tense. So I know all of that sounds confusing right now. We just said that there's 3 tenses: past, present, and future. And then now you're hearing past perfect continuous, present perfect continuous, simple. And there may be a lot of confusion, but we will break it down very simply so that even the novice is able to understand. The first tense that we will go over will be the present simple tense. The present simple tense.
casharka koowaad waxaynu ku qaadan doonaa present simple tense.
For every tense, we will cover 3 categories. Every single tense we will cover 3 categories.
tense kasta waxaynu u kala jabinaynaa 3 qaybood.
The first category will be usage. It will be when do we use, how do we use this specific tense. So for example, the first tense we will cover is the present simple tense. So when do we use it? We need to see examples, we need to know when we will be using this tense. That will be the first category. We will explain when to use it. Then we will explain in the second category the specific words that are used in that tense. So every tense has keywords. You will always be using those keywords whenever you're dealing with that tense. So that is the second category, is the keywords. And then the third category, we will go over the proper format. So we will go over the proper format and we will use live examples on when to practically use that tense. So for every single tense that we go over, said there's 12 tenses. The first tense and every other tense, we will use those three categories. We will check the usage, how to use it. We will check the keywords and we will go over the format.
qaybta koowaad waxaynu ku qaadanaynaa usage-ka oo ah xaaladda aynu u isticmaalayno ama goorta ay ku habboon tahay inaan isticmaalno. qaybta labaad waxaynu ku faahfaahinaynaa keywords-ka oo ah kelmaddan ku habboon in lagu sameeyo sentence-ka. qaybta saddexaad waxaynu ka fargaranaynaa ama aynu dhiganaynaa format-ka iyo form-ka, habka ay u dhacayso kelmaddan iyo sida loo sameynayo.
So the first tense that we will do, like I mentioned already, is the present simple tense. The present simple tense. The present simple tense, category number 1, usages. When will we use it? We will talk about 4 instances or examples of when to use this tense. Example number 1. Whenever you want to describe a habit. So a habit is something that you always do. Every day you wipe the windshield of your car, you start the engine, and then you leave it to run for 10 minutes because it's cold. You're living in a cold place. This is a habit of yours. Every day you wipe the windshield, you start your engine, and then you drive your car. Every day you do this, it's a habit. Or you want to describe timetables, so your schedule, or something that's repeated. So every day you're doing this action, or this event is always repeated. Those specific things is an example of when you will use this tense to describe your habits or something that's repeated or something in your timetable. So for example, every day when you want to go to work, you wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So in a sentence, she usually wakes up at 6 o'clock. This is present simple tense. You're describing a habit of yours, something that you continuously do all the time. You do this.
qaybta koowaad waxaynu ku qaadanaynaa isticmaalka. xaaladda aynu isticmaalaynaa maxay tahay? imikoo kale marka aad qeexaysid caado soo noqnoqonaysa ama dhacdo noloshaada ku noqnoqod ku leh. tusaale ahaan, maalin walba waxa aan kacaa 6 subaxnimo.
Another time that you will use the present simple tense is to talk about something that is a general truth. It's a fact. This is something that's undisputed. So for example, the sun rises in the east. There's nobody who can say today that the sun rises in the west. Although at one point in time, we believe in the end of times, yes, the sun will rise in the west. But for right now, it's a accepted fact that the sun rises in the east. So if you were to say the sun rises in the east, this is an example of a present simple tense.
talabaad waxaynu isticmaali karnaa tense-kan marka aynu ka hadlayno xaqiiq taagan oo aan lahayn midmadow. tusaale ahaan, cadceedu waxa ay ka soo baxdaa bari.
Another example, you want to give somebody instructions or directions. You want to tell somebody to go over there, or you're speaking in the present simple tense. So for example, You tell that person, you know what? Don't open that box, throw it away. You're giving him instructions. This box, don't open it. Skatur, throw it away. This is an example of present simple tense.
tusaalaha saddexaad waxaynu isticmaalaynaa marka aynu ka hadlayno tixraac ama tilmaam tusaale ahaan ha furin sanduuqaas ee tuur.
Or you want to talk about something that's fixed in the future. It's going to happen in the future. So you know every single day the bus leaves at 8 p.m. So you know this is something that's going to happen in the future. It's something set that is routine. So you say the bus leaves at 8 p.m. Hurry up. This is an example of present simple tense.
tusaalaha kale aan u isticmaali karnaa waxa weeyaan wax la hubo inuu dhici doono. tusaale ahaan basku waxa uu baxayaa 8 subaxnimo.
So category number 1, we said usages. When are we going to use it? We gave 4 examples. When we want to describe a habit, something that continuously happens, it's a repeated action, or we want to talk about something that's a general truth, it's a fact. Or we want to talk about something, we want to give instructions or directions. Or we want to, the 4th example we said was we want to talk about something that's going to happen, it's fixed in the future. So we will use the present simple tense in those 4 examples, those 4 instances. Category number 2, what are the types of words you can use? So you want to write a sentence or you want to speak in the present simple tense, what words will you use? There are certain signal words, they're keywords that you will use. I will name some of those keywords right now. So
qaybta labaad waa keywords. Keywords waxa weeyaan kelmadda ku haboon inaad ku hadashid marka aad isticmaalaysid tense-kan. Hadda waxaynu xusaynaa tusaalayaal ka mid ah keywords-ka.
For example, you can use the word always if you want to speak in the present simple tense. You can use the word usually. So when we said she usually wakes up at 6 o'clock, we use the word usually, it's a key word for this tense, the present simple tense. You can use the word often. You can use the word sometimes, seldom, never, every day, every week, every month, every year. So you're describing something that always happens every year, on Sundays, on Saturdays, on Mondays, after school, before school. These are all key words or signal words. If you see them in a sentence, then you know that that person is speaking in present simple tense. Category number 3. So we spoke about the usage. We gave examples of when to use this tense. Present simple tense, we gave those 4 examples. Then we spoke about the signal words. Category number 2, the signal words or the keywords that you will use when you want to use that tense, the present simple tense. Now we will move to category number 3. Category number 3 is the format. So this is the grammar structure. How will we build that sentence?
qaybta saddexaad waxa weeyaan format. qaab dhismeedka loo dhisayo sentence-ka.
So every single tense has these specific categories that you must follow if you want to create a correct sentence. It is split into 2 sections. The first section has to deal with the type of sentence. So the sentence can be positive, it can be negative, or it can be a question.
Tense-kan formatkiisa waxaa loo kala jebiyaa laba qaybood. Qaybta koowaad waxa weeyaan qaab dhismeedka sentence-ka. Qaab dhismeedku waxa uu u sii kala jabaa 3 qaybood oo yaryar: positive, negative iyo question.
A positive sentence, you're talking about what is happening. So for example, we go to bed early. Something that you are doing. We go to bed early. It's positive. A negative sentence is you're saying we don't go to. You negate the specific action. We don't go to bed early. They don't go to bed early. So you're negating, it's negative. This thing never happened. They don't go to bed early. It's a negative sentence. And then a question was su'al. You're asking something. So for example, do they go to bed early? This is a question. You want to know from the person, do they go to bed early? This is a question.
Positive waxa uu ka sheekeeyaa xaalad taagan. Tusaale ahaan, we go to bed early. Hore ayaan u seexanaa. Negative waxa uu ka sheekeynayaa diidmo. Tusaale ahaan, we don't go to bed early. Hore uma seexano. Question waxa weeyaan su'aal. Tusaale ahaan, do they go to bed early? Hore miyay u seexdaan?
So every tense, we said it's broken up into 2 categories. Category number 1, type of sentence. Positive, negative, question. Category number 2 is the specific words and the pronouns and verbs that are used in the sentence. So category number 2 is split into 2 subcategories. The first category has 4 words. The second category has 4 words. The first category, it's whenever you're using the words I, you, we, or they. And the second category is whenever you're using the words he, she, it, or somebody's name. For example, Jamal.
Formatka qaybtiisa labaad waa formula, qaacido. Qaacidadaas oo u sii kala jabisa 2 qaybood. Tusaale ahaan, marka aad isticmaalaysid I, you, they, and we. Talabaad, marka aad isticmaalaysid she, he, it, iyo magac. Tusaale ahaan, Jamal.
So, whenever you're using the words I, you, we, or they, all you will do is add something called a bare infinitive. What is a bare infinitive? A bare infinitive is just a verb without using the word to. So for example, if you say to go, this is a verb. The bare infinity is just the word go. So you take out the to, it's just the word go.
qaybta koowaad markaad isticmaalaysid I, you, we, and they waxaad ku daraysaa per infinitive. Per infinitive waa verb marka laga saaro to. Tusaale ahaan, to go. To marka laga saaro go waa per infinitive.
So for example, positive, we want to say, okay, I go to bed early. You notice how I didn't say I to go bed early. So we took out the to. I go to bed early. You go to bed early. We go to bed early. They go to bed early. You can use any of the 4 words in that sentence.
I, you, we, they lagu daray per infinitive. Tusaale ahaan, I go to bed early. We go to bed early. You go to bed early. And they go to bed early.
But the second category, the 4 words are different. you will use the words he, she, it, or somebody's name. We'll say Jamal. And then you will, instead of using a bare infinitive, you will use a verb, but that verb will end in the letter S, or it will end in the letter ES.
qaybta labaad waa ay ka yiri duwan tahay marka aynu isticmaalayno afarta kelmadood he, she, it plus qof magacii tusaale ahaan Jamaal lagu daray verb. Verbkaas waa in uu ku dhamaado s ama es.
Kind of confusing, but very simple concept. So for example, before we said we go to bed early, now when we want to use the word she, we can't say she go to bed early. We have to make that same verb end in s or es. So we'll say she goes to bed early. So whenever you use one of those four words, he, she, it, or Jamal, the verb will have an es or an s. So for example, she goes to bed early. That's for positive.
tusaale ahaan marka aynu isticmaalayno she ma oran karayno she go to bed early. Waa in aynu ku darno verbka s ama es. Marka waxa ay noqonaysaa she goes to bed early.
For negative, same concept. You just will use the word do not or don't to negate the sentence. So for example, before when it was positive, we go to bed early. Now it will be we don't go to bed early or we do not go to bed early. It's negative. We're negating the sentence. On the other end, if we want to use the other four words, he doesn't go to bed early. So do not turns into does not or doesn't. James doesn't go to bed early. Jamal doesn't go to bed early. She doesn't go to bed early. All of those are examples of a negative sentence.
qaybta labaad ee qaab dhismeedka negative marka aynu isticmaalayno I, you, we, they waxaynu ku daraynaa do not. tusaale ahaan they do not go to bed early ama they don't go to bed early. marka aynu isticmaalayno he, she, it ama magac waxaynu ku daraynaa does not ama doesn't. tusaale ahaan she doesn't go to bed early.
When it's a question, very simple, all you will do is you will add the word do into the beginning of the sentence. Do they go to bed early? When it's a question, do they go to bed early? Do you go to bed early? Do I go to bed early? Do we go to bed early? And on the other hand, when we use the other four words, he, she, it, or James or Jamal or any other person's name, you will just say, instead of do, does. Does she go to bed early? Does he go to bed early? Does Jamal go to bed early?
qayb saddexaad ee qaab dhismeedka question su'aal marka aad isticmaalaysid I, we, you, they waxa aad ka horreysiinaysaa do. tusaale ahaan do they go to bed early. laakiin marka aad isticmaalaysid he, she, it ama qof magacii waxa aad ka horreysiinaysaa does. tusaale ahaan does Jamal go to bed early.
So this is the format of the present simple tense. All of the simple tenses, they have this format, but it will just be different the way that we use it. This wraps up the lesson for today. Present simple tense. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.